Well, greetings everybody again. Welcome to our continued narrative of the great epic, the Mahabharata of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasadeva. So we're proceeding on now, coming towards the end of the Shalya Parva, and then we'll be embarking on the Hrada Pravesha Parva. So we're gradually winding down now after a long and drawn out protracted narrative of war with encounters and single combats and slaughters and rivers of blood. But we've still got a little way to go. So before I begin, I'll say a Mangala Charana. Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaye Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, chapter 1234 of the Mahabharata, chapter 15 of the Shalyavadha Parva. Sanjaya said, O Lord, your soldiers placed the king of Madra at their head. In that great battle, they again powerfully attacked the Parthas. Though they were afflicted, all those on your side were intoxicated at the prospect of war. In a short while, they agitated the Parthas in many ways. While Krishna and Partha looked on, the Pandavas were slaughtered by the Kurus and were incapable of remaining stationed there, though they were restrained by Bhima. Dhananjaya became angry at this. He covered Kripa and his followers and Kritavarma with a storm of arrows. Sahadeva countered Sakuni and his soldiers. Stationed on the flank, Nakula glanced at the king of Madra. Draupadi's sons repeatedly repulsed many kings. Panchala Sikandi countered Drona's son. With the club in his hand, Bhimasena held back the kings. Kunti's son Yudhishthira countered Shalya and his soldiers. As those on your side and the enemy engaged, refusing to retreat from the battle, duels commenced here and there. In the great battle, we witnessed Salya's supreme deed. He single-handedly fought against all of the soldiers on the Pandava side. We saw Shalya stationed near Yudhishthira in the battle, like the planet Saturn near the moon. He afflicted the king with arrows that were like venomous serpents. He again attacked Bhima and covered him with showers of arrows. On witnessing the lightness of his hands and his skill in the use of weapons, the soldiers on your side and those on the side of the enemy applauded him. The Pandavas were severely oppressed and wounded by Shalya. Ignoring Yudhishthira's cries, they abandoned the field of battle. The Pandava soldiers were slaughtered by the king of Madra. Dharmaraja Yudhishthira was overcome with intolerance. He resorted to his manliness and oppressed the king of Madra. The Maharata made up his mind to win or be killed. He summoned all his brothers and Krishna Madhava and said, Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and all the other brave kings fought in the battle for the sake of the Kauravas and went to their death. All of you have resorted to your manliness and used your enterprise to take care of your shares. Footnote. The Pandavas had apportioned out the Kauravas amongst themselves. Shalya was Yudhishthira's share. End of footnote. There is a single share that is left. Mahabharata Shalya is mine. I wish to fight against the Lord of Madra and defeat him today. I will tell all of you what is in my mind now. Madravati's brave sons will guard my chariot wheels. They are revered as brave ones in battle and cannot be vanquished by Vasava. They will place the dharma of kshatriyas in the forefront and virtuously fight against their maternal uncle. They deserve honor and are devoted to the truth. They will fight back for my sake. O fortunate ones, either Shalya will be killed by me in the battle, or I will be killed by him. O brave ones in the world, O brave ones in the world, listen to my words. I am telling you truthfully. O kings, I will resort to the dharma of kshatriyas and fight against my maternal uncle today. I have determined that I will be victorious or be defeated. Therefore, equip me with a large store of weapons and all the implements. Let the chariot be quickly equipped for the battle in accordance with the decrees of the sacred texts. Let Shini's descendant guard my right wheel and Drishtadyumna the left. Let Partha, Dhananjaya protect my rear today. Let Bhima, supreme among wielders of weapons, advance in front of me today. In the great battle, I will then be superior to Shalya and will drive him away. Having been thus addressed by the king, all the well-wishers did as they had been asked to. O king, the soldiers were again filled with delight. This was especially true of the Panchalas, the Somakas, and the Matsyas. Having taken the pledge, Dharmaraja set out to accomplish it in the battle. Hundreds of conch shells, trumpets, and drums were sounded by the Panchalas as they roared like lions. Spiritedly and angrily, they rushed towards the king of Madra. The bulls among the Kurus were also filled with great delight and roared. There was the noise of bells on elephants and the blare of conch shells. The earth resounded with the great sounds of trumpets. Your son and the valiant king of Madra received them. They were like large mountains receiving rain pouring down from giant clouds. Salya prided himself in battle and showered down arrows on Dharmaraja, the scorcher of enemies, like Magavan pouring down rain. The great-minded king of the Kurus also grasped a beautiful bow and displayed the diverse kinds of learning that he had been taught by Drona. He showered down arrows, colorful, dexterous, and skilled. As he roamed around in the battle, no weakness could be discerned in him. They wounded each other with many kinds of arrows. In the battle, those valorous ones were like tigers fighting over a piece of meat. Bhima clashed against your son, who found delight in battle. In every direction, Sakuni and the other brave ones received Panchala, Satyaki, and the Pandavas, who were the sons of Madri. They desired victory and fought tumultuously again. O king, the enemy and those on your side fought because of your evil policy. In the battle, Duryodhana used an arrow with a drooping tuft to sever Bhima's gold-decorated standard. It was large and beautiful to see, adorned with nets of bells. Having brought Bhimasena's standard down, he roared like a lion. With a razor-sharp arrow pointed at the tip, the Lord of Men then severed his colourful bow, which, was like the trunk of a king of elephants. When his bow was severed, the spirited one resorted to his prowess and hurled a javelin towards your son. It pierced his chest and made him sink down on his chariot. When he was bereft of his senses, Vrikodara again used the Ikshurapra arrow to sever his charioteer's head from his body. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, O king! When the charioteer was slain, the horses dragged the chariot away in different directions, and loud sounds of lamentation arose. For the sake of rescuing your son, Drona's Mahabharata son, Kripa and Kritavarma followed. The soldiers were agitated and the followers were terrified. The wielder of Gandiva used his bow and arrows to slaughter them. Yudhishthira intolerantly attacked the Lord of Madra. He himself controlled his horses, which were as swift as thought and as white as ivory. When we saw Kunti's son, Yudhishthira, it was extraordinary. He was mild and controlled earlier, but assumed a fearful form. Kaunteya dilated his eyes in rage and trembled in anger. He mangled hundreds and thousands of warriors with his arrows. Wherever the soldiers fought back, the eldest Pandava was there. O king, he brought them down with his arrows, like the best of mountains shattered by thunder. Many horses, charioteers, standards, chariots and rathas were brought down. He sported with them, like a violent wind toying with clouds. In the battle, he angrily brought down thousands of horse riders, horses, and foot soldiers, like an enraged Rudra among animals. With showers of arrows, he shot in every direction. He emptied the field of battle of warriors. He attacked Shalya, the lord of Madra, and asked him to wait. On witnessing him roam around in the battle, terrible in his deeds, all those on your side were terrified. However, Shalya countered him. Extremely enraged, those two blew on their conch shells. They challenged each other and censured each other. Shalya countered Yudhishthira with a shower of arrows. Kaunteya also countered the king of Madra with a shower of arrows. O king, in that battle, those two brave ones, the king of Madra and Yudhishthira, were seen to be covered with blood because of the arrows shafted with feathers of herons. They were as beautiful as flowering shalmali or king shuka trees in the forest. Those great-souled ones blazed. They were ready to give up their lives and were unassailable in battle. On seeing them, none of the soldiers knew which one would be victorious. Whether Partha would kill the Lord of Madra and enjoy the earth today, or whether Shalya would kill Pandava and give the earth to Duryodhana. O descendant of the Bharata lineage. The warriors there could not make up their minds on this. As he fought, Dharmaraja kept all of them to his right. Shalya swiftly shot 100 arrows towards Yudhishthira. He severed his bow with an arrow that was sharp at the tip. He picked up another bow and, piercing Shalya with 300 arrows, severed his bow with a razor-sharp arrow. He then slew his 4 horses with arrows with drooping tufts. With 2 arrows that were sharp at the tips, he killed the 2 Parshni charioteers. Stationed in front of him, he used a blazing yellow, sharp and broad-headed arrow to sever his standard. O scorcher of enemies, at this, the army of Duryodhanas scattered. Drona's son rushed towards the king of Madra and, picking him up on his chariot, swiftly fled. After they had traveled a short distance, they heard Yudhishthira roar. The Lord of Madra stopped and ascended another chariot. It sparkled and had been duly prepared. It roared, get ready, Karnai, like the clouds. It had been equipped with all the implements and made the body hair of enemies stand up.
Please give me the page number.
370.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commencing. Excellent reading. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 1235.
Yeah, you can read right up to section 75 on 379. It's quite, might as well read that whole section.
Ah, okay, yeah, thanks. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sanjaya said, "The Lord of Madra picked up another bow that was more powerful and capable of bearing a greater load. He pierced Yudhishthira and roared like a lion. He showered down arrows like Parjanya pouring down rain. The bull among the Kshatriyas, immeasurable in his soul, showered arrows on the Kshatriyas. He pierced Satyaki with 10 arrows and Bhimasena with 3. He pierced Sahadeva with 3 and afflicted Yudhishthira. He afflicted all the other great archers with their horses, chariots, and elephants. The supreme among Ratas destroyed elephants and elephant riders, horses and horse riders, and chariots and Ratas. He severed arms, weapons, and flags. He scattered the earth with warriors, like a sacrificial altar strewn with kusha grass. He slaughtered the soldiers like Death the Destroyer. The Pandus, Panchalas, and Somakas angrily surrounded him. Bhimasena, Shini's grandson, and Madri's sons, foremost among men, challenged him and clashed against him in turn, while he was fighting with the king, terrible in his strength. Those brave Indras among men, supreme among warriors, reached the Lord of Madra. In the battle, those brave ones among men struck him with arrows that were fierce and powerful. The king was protected by Bhimasena, Madri's sons, and Madhava. Dharma's son struck the lord of Madra between the breasts with fierce and powerful arrows. Those on your side saw that the lord of Madra was afflicted by arrows in the battle. On the instructions of Duryodhana, those supreme ones surrounded him with an array of chariots from all sides. In the encounter, the lord of Madra speedily pierced Yudhishthira with 7 arrows. O king, in the tumultuous battle, the great-souled Partha pierced him with 9 arrows. Those 2 Maharatas, the Lord of Madra and Yudhishthira, drew their bows back up to their ears and covered each other with arrows that had been washed in oil. The 2 Maharatas swiftly glanced towards each other in the battle. Those 2 supreme among kings were immensely strong. They attacked the enemy and severely pierced each other. Great sound arose because of the twanging of bows and the slapping of palms. It was like the roar of the great Indra's Vajra. Those 2 brave and great-souled ones, the Lord of Madra and Pandu, showered down large numbers of arrows on each other. They circled around like young tigers in a great forest in search of meat. They insolently gored each other like the best of elephants using their tusks. The great-souled Lord of Madra struck the brave Yudhishthira, whose valor was terrible, in the chest with a powerful arrow that was like the sun or the fire in its splendor. O king, Yudhishthira, the bull among the Kuru lineage, was grievously struck by that well-aimed arrow. He struck the great-souled Lord of Madra back and was delighted. In a short instant, the Indra among kings regained his senses. His eyes were red with rage. He was like the one with 1,000 eyes in his prowess. He swiftly struck Partha with 100 arrows. Dharma's great-souled son wrathfully struck Shalya with 9 arrows. These pierced his golden armor, and he struck him again with another 6 arrows. The Lord of Madra was delighted at this. He stretched his bow and released 2 razor-sharp arrows towards the king, severing the bow of the bull among the Kuru lineage. The great-souled king picked up another bow in that encounter, one that was more terrible. From every direction he pierced Shalya with sharp arrows that were pointed at the tip, like the great Indra against Namuchi. Shalya used 9 arrows to sever the golden armor of Bhima and King Yudhishthira, and then struck the great-souled ones in their arms. He then used another razor-sharp and flaming arrow, as resplendent as the sun, to sever the king's bow. At this, Kripa used 6 arrows to slay his charioteer, who fell down in front of him. That would be Kripa used 6 arrows to slay his Yudhishthira's charioteer, who fell down in front of him. The Lord of Madra used his arrows to slay Yudhishthira's 4 horses. Having slain the horses, the great-souled one began to destroy the warriors who were on the side of the king, Dharma's son. When the king was reduced to this state, the great-souled Bhimasen quickly attacked the king of Madra and severed his bow with a powerful arrow. He then severely pierced that Indra among men with 2 arrows. With another arrow he severed the head of his charioteer from his armored body. Extremely enraged, Bhimasena swiftly killed his 4 horses. The foremost among all archers was single-handedly roaming around in that field of battle with great force. That would be Shalya. Bhima enveloped him with 100 arrows, and so did Madri's son, Sahadeva. On seeing that he was confounded by these arrows, Bhima severed Shalya's armor with his arrows. When his armor was severed by Bhimasena, the Lord of Madra picked up a shield that was marked with the signs of 1,000 stars. The great-souled one jumped down from his chariot. Grasping a sword, he dashed towards Kunti's son. Terrible in his strength, he destroyed Nakula's chariot and advanced towards Yudhishthira. Yes, that would be the great sword one jumped down from the chariot. That would be Shalya doing that. So he advanced towards Yudhishthira. He angrily descended on the king like an advancing Yama. Drishtadyumna, Draupadi's sons, Shikhandi, and Shini's descendant swiftly advanced to the rescue. The great-souled Bhima used 10 arrows to sever his unmatched shield. He used a broad-headed arrow to sever the sword in his hand and roared in the midst of the soldiers. On witnessing Bhima's deed, the foremost of the Rajas on the Pandava side were delighted. They roared in applause and blew on conch shells that were as white as the moon. At that terrible sound, the soldiers on your side were tormented and distressed. They were covered in sweat and their limbs were covered in blood. They were miserable and lost all sense of enterprise. However, the Lord of Madra violently attacked the foremost of Pandava warriors, with Bhima at their head. He swiftly advanced against Yudhishthira, like a lion advancing in search of deer. Dharmaraj's horses and charioteer had been slain. He blazed in anger like the fire. On seeing the Lord of Madra advance swiftly, he also rushed forward with great force. He swiftly thought of Govinda's words and made up his mind to destroy Shalya. Though his horses and charioteer had been slain, Dharmaraj remained stationed on his chariot and wished to pick up a javelin. The great-souled one thought about Shalya's deeds and the remaining share that had been allotted to him. Remembering this, he set his heart on killing Shalya, just as Indra's younger brother had asked him to. Footnote: Vishnu, that is Krishna, Indra's younger brother, okay. Dharmaraj picked up a javelin that was golden in complexion. It was bejeweled and possessed a golden handle. His eyes blazed and were dilated. With an angry heart, he glanced towards the Lord of Madra. The king was a god among men. He was pure in his soul, and all his sins had been cleansed. O king, though he glanced at the Lord of Madra, he was not reduced to ashes. Yes, the footnote says it to that is, Shalya could have been reduced to ashes because of Yudhishthir's sight alone, meaning he was pure. Though he glanced at the Lord of Madra, he was not reduced to ashes, as in flux could kill, sort of thing. This was extraordinary. That javelin possessed a beautiful tip and handle, with coral and gems. It flamed and dazzled. Great-souled one flung it with great force towards the Lord of Madra, foremost among the Kurus. It blazed as it was flung with great force. It descended violently, emitting sparks. While all the assembled Kurus looked on, it was like a giant meteor at the time of the destruction of a Yuga. Just lost my page. Damn. It's going to take me... You have to help me find a page, I'm afraid.
Isn't it 374 or 375?
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Because I lost the page as well.
But my book just snapped closed. I just moved one hand. Okay. So, yeah, all right.
Can't hear
Fine.
me. I was just going to say it's on the top of the page 374.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool.
It was like a, giant meteor, etc.
Thanks there. So, the javelin that was flung, it was like the night of destruction, and like Yama with a noose in his hand. It was fierce in form, like the midwife of destruction. It was, it was like Rama's staff, and was invincible. Dharmaraj had preserved it carefully for the battle. The sons of Pandu had taken great care to worship it with the best of fragrances, garlands, and seats, food and drink. It flamed like the fire of destruction. It was as fierce as rites performed by Artavan and Angiras. Tvashtra had created it for Ishana's use. Footnote: Ishana is Shiva, and Tvashtra is Vishvakarma, the architect of the gods. It was capable of consuming the lives and bodies of enemies. Through it, Isha was capable of destroying all beings on earth. That's Shiva. The firmament and bodies of water. It was adorned with bells, flags, jewels, and diamonds. It was decorated with lapis lazuli and had a golden handle. Tvashtra had constructed it with great care, after controlling himself and observing rites. It was invincible and could destroy all those who hated Brahmanas. He hurled it with great force, strength, and care after having chanted terrible mantras over it. For the sake of destroying the Lord of Madra, he dispatched it towards the enemy along the best of paths. Dharmaraj seemed to be dancing around in anger. He extended his firm arm with the excellent hand. He loudly exclaimed, "O wretched one, you are dead." It was like Rudra shooting an arrow. That javelin was hurled by Yudhishthira with force. Shalya roared loudly and used all his strength to try to seize and repulse it. It was as if a fire was leaping up to catch clarified butter over it. It pierced through his inner organs, his broad chest, and his sparkling armor. It then penetrated the earth, as if it was slicing through water. The king's great frame was taken away. Blood began to flow from his wounds and covered his nose, eyes, ears, and mouth. His limbs were covered with blood. He was like the giant mountain Krauncha when it had been shattered by Skanda. Footnote: Skanda, in brackets Kartikeya, shattered Mount Krauncha when he killed the demons who hid there. The Krauncha mountain is in the Bellary district of Karnataka. He stretched out his arms and fell down from his chariot onto the ground. His armor was shattered by the descendant of the Kuru lineage. The great-souled one was like the great Indra's mount, but he was like the summit of a mountain that had been shattered by thunder. The king of Madra extended his arms in Dharmaraj's direction. He then fell down on the ground like Indra's standard. All his limbs were mangled and covered with blood. The bull among men fell down affectionately on the ground, like a beloved wife who falls down on the chest of her dear husband. The Lord had enjoyed the earth for a long time, like a beloved wife. He seemed to go to sleep now, clasping her with all his limbs. The earth, that is. The one with Dharma in his soul had fought in accordance with Dharma and was killed by Dharma's son. He was like a fire that had been pacified on a sacrificial altar. The javelin shattered his heart, and he was deprived of his weapons and standard. Though he had been pacified, prosperity did not desert the Lord of Madra. In the footnote, that it's Lakshmi, or alternatively, beauty. Yudhishthira picked up his bow, which was as dazzling as Indra's bow. In the battle, he began to slaughter the enemies, like the king of birds against serpents. In a short instant, he used sharp and broad-headed arrows to deprive the bodies of the enemies of their lives. Your soldiers were completely covered by Partha's arrows. With their eyes closed and distressed, they began to strike each other in fear. The armor was placed from their bodies, and they lost their weapons and their lives, displaced. The younger brother of the king of Madra, the younger brother, the king of Madra, was youthful. He was his brother's equal in all qualities. When Shalya was brought down, the Rata attacked Pandava. He swiftly pierced that best of men with many iron arrows. He was invincible in battle and wished to observe the last rites of his brother. Dharmaraja quickly pierced him back with 6 swift arrows. With a couple of razor-sharp arrows, he severed his bow and his standard. While he was stationed in front of him, he used a blazing, extremely firm, sharp, and broad-headed arrow to sever his head. With the earrings, the head was seen to fall down from the chariot. This was like a resident of heaven falling down after the store of good deeds has been exhausted. With the head severed, the torso fell down from the chariot. The limbs were covered with blood. On seeing this, the soldiers ran away. Kaurava soldiers. The younger brother of the king of Madra was clad in colourful armour. On seeing that he'd been slain, sounds of lamentation arose among the Kurus, and they fled swiftly. On seeing that Shalya's younger brother had been killed, those on your side gave up all hope of remaining alive. They were terrified because of their fear of the Pandavas and, covered with dust, ran away. O bull among the Bharata lineage! While the terrified Kauravas were running away, Satyaki, Shini's grandson, pursued them and shot arrows. He was a great archer and extremely difficult to withstand. O king! However, Hardikya received him fearlessly and spiritedly. Those two great-souled and unvanquished ones from the Vrishni lineage, Hardikya and Satyaki, clashed against each other, so both Satyaki and Kritavarma were from the Vrishni lineage. There's the footnote. So, Hardikya and Satyaki clashed against each other. They were like maddened lions. They showered down sparkling arrows, which were like the rays of the sun, on each other. Both of them were like the sun in their radiance. Those lions among the Vrishni lineage shot powerful arrows from the circles of their bows, and they seemed to be like swift insects in the sky. Hardikya used 10 arrows with drooping tufts to pierce Satyaki and struck his horses with 3. He then severed his bow with a single arrow. The bull among the Shinny lineage cast aside the best of bows that had been severed. He picked up another powerful weapon, but that was even more forceful. Another bow. Picking up the best of bows, the supreme among all archers pierced Hardikya back between the breasts with 10 arrows. He used well-aimed, broad-headed arrows to shatter his chariot and his yoke. He then swiftly slew his horses and his 2 Parshni charioteers. O king, when the king of Madra was slain and Kritavarma deprived of his chariot, all of Duryodhana's soldiers again retreated from the battle. Coming close to the end of this section. Because they were covered in dust, the soldiers could no longer distinguish the enemy. The troops who were still alive retreated from the battle. The dust had arisen from the earth. O bull among men, but in a short while it was seen that this was pacified because of the several streams of blood that flowed. From a close distance, Duryodhana saw that his troops had been shattered. He advanced with great speed and single-handedly countered all the Parthas. He saw the Pandavas on their chariots and Parshata Drishtadyumna and the invincible one from Anarta, the Satyaki. He countered them with his sharp arrows. At that time, the enemy did not attack him like mortal beings, avoiding death. Hardikya ascended another chariot and returned. Mahabharata King Yudhisthira swiftly slew Kritavarma's 4 horses with 4 arrows. He pierced Gautama with 6 broad-headed arrows that were extremely energetic. Ashwatthama saw that Hardikya had been deprived of his chariot by the king and that his horses had been slain. He bore him away on his own chariot, away from Yudhisthira. Sharadvata pierced Yudhisthira back with 8 arrows and also pierced his horses with 8 other sharp arrows that had been sharpened on stone. O great king, at this time the remnants of the battle raged on. O king, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, all this happened because of your evil policy, together with that of your sons. When Shalya, supreme among great archers, was slain in the midst of the battle by the bull among the Kuru lineage, all the assembled Parthas saw this and were greatly delighted. In a short while, they blew on their conch shells. They praised Yudhisthira, just as in ancient times the gods had praised Indra after Vritra had been killed. They roared and sounded many kinds of musical instruments. This resounded from every side of the earth. Thus ends that chapter and the Shalya Vada Parva.
Beautifully recited, thank you. So I will continue. The Hrada Paravesha Parva, section 2075. Atyaki kills Shalva, the king of the Mlechas, and Shemadhurti. Bhima kills Duryodhana's remaining brothers. Arjuna kills warriors from Trigata, including Susharma, the king of Trigata. Sahadev kills Sakuni and his son, Aluka. Duryodhana enters Pravesha, a lake, Radha, and hides there. The section being named after this. The survivors, including the women, flee to Hastinapur. Chapter 1236, episode 17. Shalya said, O king, when Shalya was killed, 700 brave Rattas, followers of the king of Madra, advanced in a large army. Duryodhana was astride an elephant that was like a mountain. An umbrella was held aloft in his head, and he was fanned with whisks. He restrained the ones from Madra. Do not go, do not advance. Duryodhana repeatedly tried to restrain those brave ones. However, wishing to kill Yudhisthira, they penetrated the Pandu army. O great king, those brave warriors had made up their minds to fight. They loudly twanged their bows and fought with the Pandavas. On hearing that Shalya had been killed, they afflicted Dharma's son. Those Maharatas from Madura were devoted to ensuring the welfare of the king of Madura. Partha advanced there, stretching the bow Gandiva. The Maharata again filled the directions with the clatter of his chariot. Arjun, Bhima, and the Pandavas, who were Madri's sons, Shaki, tiger among men, all of Draupadi's sons, Drishtadyumna, Shikandi, and Panchalas and the Somakas desired to protect Yudhisthira and surrounded him from every direction. Surrounding him, the bulls amongst the Pandavas agitated their army like makaras in an ocean. It was as if the great river Ganga was agitated by a mighty wind. O king, but those Maharatas were ready to give up their lives and again agitated the great army of the Pandus and their standards. Those on your side made it tremble like trees by a giant storm. They loudly exclaimed, "Where is King Yudhisthira? Why are his brave brothers not seen? Where are the immensely valorous Panchalas, Maharata Sikandi, Drishtadyumna, Shini's descendants, and all the sons of Draupadi?" While they were roaring in this way, Draupadi's brave and Maharata sons and Yuyudhana, the followers of the king of Madra. Some of them were crushed by the wheels, others were mangled, and the giant standards destroyed. In the battle, those on your side were seen to be slain by the enemy, O king, O descendant of the Bharata lineage. Though they were restrained by your son, on seeing the Pandavas in the battle, those warriors powerfully rushed against them from every side. Duryodhana tried to restrain and calm those brave ones, but not a single one of those Maharajas would listen to him. O great king, Shakuni, the son of the king of Gandhara, capable of speaking eloquently, spoke these words to Duryodhana. "The army of the Madras is being slaughtered. Why are you looking on? O descendant of the Bharata lineage, while you are stationed in the battle, this is not proper. At that time, we took a decision that we would fight together, O king. The enemy is slaughtering us. Why are you tolerating this?" Duryodhana replied, "I tried to restrain them earlier, but they didn't listen to my words. Having penetrated the Pandu army, this is the reason they're being killed." Shakuni said, "When they are enraged in a battle, valiant ones do not listen to their master. You should not be angry with them. This is not the time to ignore this. All of us should advance with our horses, chariots, and elephants and rescue the great archers who are the followers of the king of Madra. O king, we will take great care and protect each other. Let all of us think along those lines and ask the soldiers to advance." Having been thus addressed, the king surrounded himself with a large army. He roared like a lion, made the earth tremble, and advanced. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, among your soldiers there were tumultuous sounds like slay, pierce, seize, strike, sever. In the battle, the Pandavas beheld the followers of the king of Madra. They advanced, uniting in a moderate formation. O Lord of the earth, in a short instant, those brave ones engaged in hand-to-hand combat in the battle, and the followers of the king of Madra seemed to be killed. While we were advancing, we saw that the enemy had spiritually killed their foes and were cheerfully uttering roars of delight. In every direction, headless torsos were seen to rise up and fall down like giant meteors from the solar disk at midday. The chariots and the yokes were shattered. The Maharatas were slain. Horses fell down. The earth was strewn with these. O king, O great king, Steeds that were as fleet as the wind were still yoked. In the battle, they were seen to drag warriors around. In the encounter, some horses dragged around chariots with shattered wheels. Some others fled in the 10 directions, dragging along halves of chariots. Here and there, yokes were seen to be attached to the horses. O supreme, O supreme among men, rutters were seen to fall down. They were like sidders dislodged from the sky after their store of good deeds had been exhausted. The brave followers of the king of Madra were slaughtered. The Mahabharata Paratas saw that we were advancing towards them, wielding weapons and desiring victory. They attacked powerfully. They created a whizzing sound with their arrows. This mixed with the blare of conch shells. Unwavering in their aim, those strikers again clashed against us. They brandished their bows and arrows and roared like lions. On seeing that the large army of the king of Madra had been slain and that the brave king of Madra had been brought down in the battle, all of Duryodhana's soldiers again retreated. O great king, they were slaughtered by the Pandavas, firm archers who desired victory. Frightened and terrified, they fled in different directions. I'm just going to read this next one section, and then it's not that long. Not that long. Chapter 1, 2, 3, 6, 18. Sanjaya said, the unassailable Mahabharata, the king of Madra, was brought down in the battle. Those on your side and your sons generally retreated. They were like merchants whose boats had been shattered so that they were without a raft on the fathomless ocean. O great king, when the brave king of Madra was slain by the great souled one, they wished to find a shore but could not reach one. They were frightened and mangled by arrows. They desired a protector but were without a protector. They were like deer afflicted by a lion. They were like bulls with broken horns or elephants with shattered tusks. They were defeated by Dharma's son and tormented at midday. O king, there was no one who could rally the soldiers, nor any valor among them. When Shalya was killed, there was no warrior who could resort to his own intelligence. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, O lord of the earth, when Bhishma, Drona, and the son of Asuta were killed, when Bhishma, Drona, and the son of Asuta were killed, the warriors on your side suffer from sorrow and fear. That grief and terror manifest itself again. When Maharata Shalya was killed, all hope of victory was given up. The foremost of the brave ones were slain and destroyed, mangled by sharp arrows. O king, when the king of Madra was slain, the warriors fled. Some of the Maharajas resorted to horses, others to elephants, and still others to chariots. They speedily ascended on these or fled on foot. There were 2,000 elephants accomplished in striking. They were like mountains. When Shali was killed, goaded by goads and toes, they ran away. O best of the Bharata lineage, in the encounter, those on your side fled in different directions. They were seen to run away. They sighed and were afflicted by the arrows. On seeing that they were shattered and running away, vanquished and bereft of enthusiasm, the Panchalavas and Pandavas attacked, desiring victory. They created a whizzing sound and their arrows roared loudly like lions. The brave ones blew fiercely on their conch shells. On seeing that the Kaurava soldiers were terrified and were running away, the Panchalas and Pandavas spoke to each other. King Yudhisthira is firm in his devotion to truth and has vanquished the enemy today. King Duryodhana has been destroyed today and has lost his glory and prosperity. On hearing that his sons have been killed, Dhritarashtra, the lord of men, will fall down senseless on the ground and grieve. He will realize today how capable Kunteya is among all archers. The evil-minded one will today censure his evil deeds. Today he will remember the truthful and beneficial words that were spoken by Shata earlier. Let him serve the Paratas today with different kinds of objects. Let the king know the sorrow that the sons of Pandu had felt. Let the Lord of the earth learn about Krishna's greatness today. Today, Let him realize how terrible the twang of Arjuna's bow is in battle. Today, let him know the terrible strength of the great-souled Bhima, who possesses the strength of all weapons and the strength of all his arms in battle. Duryodhana will be slain in the battle like the Asura Maya by Shakra. There is no one else in the world who could have performed the task that the immensely strong Bhima has. Bhimashena slew Dushashana. Today, on hearing about the death of the king of Madra, who was extremely different for even the gods to withstand, let him know about the eldest Pandava Vala. In the encounter today, he will know about the great strength of the two sons of Madri, when the brave Shobala and all those from Gandhara are killed. Why should victory not be on the side of those who have a warrior like Dhananjaya or Satyaki, Bhimashena, Ashita Drishtadyumna, Draupadi's five sons, the Pandavas, who are Madri's sons, the great archer Shikandi, and King Yudhisthira? Why should victory not be on the side of those who have Krishna Janardana, the protector of the universe, as their protector, and who have resorted to Dharma? There were Bhishma, Drona, Karna, the king of Madra, and hundreds and thousands of other brave kings. Who other than Partha Yudhisthira was capable of vanquishing them in battle? Rishikesha, the store of Dharma and fame, has always been his protector. In great delight, these were the words they spoke to the king. Those on your side were routed, and the Sanjayas followed them from the rear. The brave Dhananjaya attacked the army of chariots. Madra's sons and Maharata Satyaki attacked Shakuni. On seeing that all of them were running away, afflicted by their fear of Bhimashena, Duryodhana smiled and spoke to his charioteer. Partha, stationed with the bow in his hand, will not be able to cross me. He is slaying all the soldiers. Take my horses to him. I will fight and kill Kunteya, or Dhananjaya will kill me. He will not be able to cross me, like the great ocean against the shoreline. O charioteer, behold that large army attacked by the Pandavas. Behold, in every direction a dust has arisen because of the soldiers. Listen to the many leonine roars. They are terrible and fearful. O charioteer, advance slowly there and protect the rear. If I station myself in battle and counter the Pandus, my energetic army will swiftly return again. On hearing the words of your son, spoken like the best of brave ones, the charioteer gently goaded the horses, tied to golden harnesses. There were 21,000 foot soldiers who were ready to lay down their lives, though they were without elephants, horses, and charioteers. They stationed themselves for the battle. They had come from diverse countries and were attired in garments of many colors. Desiring great fame, those warriors stationed themselves there. In great delight, they clashed against each other. There was an extremely great encounter. It was fierce in form and terrible. O king, those four kinds of troops who had come from many countries countered Bhimashena and Parshita Drishtadyumna. In the battle, other foot soldiers attacked Bhima. Desiring to ascend to the world of the brave, they roared cheerfully and slapped their armpits. Invincible in the battle, they angrily attacked Bhimashena. Those on the side of the sons of Dhritarashtra did not speak to each other, but they roared. They surrounded Bhima in the battle and struck him from all sides. O great king, when he was surrounded by that large army of foot soldiers in the battle, Maratha Pandava did not waver. He remained immobile on his chariot like Mount Moinaka. He slaughtered them and they angrily attacked him, countering the other warriors who tried to repulse them. Thus attacked, Bhima became enraged in that battle. He quickly descended from his chariot and stood on the ground. He grasped a giant club that was decorated with gold. With this, like Yama with the staff in his hand, he began to slay those warriors. With his club, the powerful Bhima brought down 21,000 foot soldiers who were without chariots, horses, or elephants. Bhima, for whom truth was his valor, slew that army of men. he was soon seen with Tristramara at the forefront. The slain foot soldiers lay down on the ground, their bodies covered with blood. They were like flowering carnicara trees shattered by a storm. They were adorned with garlands made out of different kinds of flowers. They wore many kinds of earrings. They were of different races and assembled from different countries. I've got one page left, Dina. That large army of foot soldiers was killed there. Flags and standards were scattered around. They were destroyed, and it was beautiful, but fearful, terrible in form. While Eudister at the forefront, sorry, with Eudister at the forefront, all the soldiers and Maharatas attacked your great-souled son, Duryodhana. All the great archers on your side retreated. On seeing this, they attacked. But they could not cross your son, like the abode of Makaras against the shoreline. We witness your son's extraordinary manliness. Though he was single-handed, all the united parties were incapable of withstanding him. Duryodhana spoke to his own soldiers who were mangled with arrows. Though they had made up their minds to run away, they had not gone far. I do not see a country of mountains on earth where the Pandavas will not follow and kill you. What is the point of running away? They have only a little bit of their army left, and the two Krishnas have been severely wounded. If all of us take a stand, it is certain that there will be a victory. If you run away, the Pandavas will destroy all of us. They will pursue and kill us. It is better to be stationed in battle. O Kshatriyas, all of you, listen to me. Those who are still assembled here, Yama slays both cowards and brave ones. Which man calls himself a Kshatriya and is stupid enough not to fight? It is better to be stationed before the angry Bhimashena. If we resort to the Dharma of Kshatriyas and fight, there will be happiness, even if there is death in battle. If we win, we will attain happiness. If we are slain, we will attain great fruits in the world hereafter. O Kauravas, there is no greater path towards heaven than by resorting to the Dharma of fighting. If we are killed in battle, we will soon obtain all those revered worlds. On hearing these words, the kings applauded them. They returned and attacked the Pandava assassins. On seeing that they were swiftly attacking the Parthas, who were strikers, arrayed themselves in battle formation. Desiring victory, those strikers counterattacked. The valiant Partha attacked on his chariot. He brandished Gandiva bow, famous in the three worlds. Madri's sons and the immensely strong Satyaki attacked Shakuni. Carefully and quickly, they endeavor to attack your arm. Leon.
Haribol. Dina, do you know where you are?
I do.
You do. It says Salya there, but it's not Salya, it's Salva.
Oh,
Salya's already been killed.
Shalva.
Yeah.
Continuing in the Shalyapava, in the translation of Kesari Mohan Ganguli of the epic Sri Mahabharata. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sanjaya said, after the Kuru army had been rallied, Shalva, the ruler of the Malechas, filled with rage, rushed against the large force of the Pandavas, riding on a gigantic elephant with secretions issuing from the usual limbs, looking like a hill, swelling with pride, resembling Airavata himself, and capable of crushing large bands of foes. Shalva's animal, sprung from a high and noble breed, was always worshipped by Dhritarashtra's son. It was properly equipped and properly trained for battle, O king, by persons well conversant with elephant lore. Riding on that elephant, that foremost of kings looked like the morning sun at the close of summer. Mounting on that foremost of elephants, O monarch, he proceeded against the Pandavas and began to pierce them on all sides with keen and terrible shafts that resembled Indra's thunder in force. While he shot his arrows in that battle and dispatched hostile warriors to Yama's abode, neither the Kauravas nor the Pandavas could notice any lapses in him, even as the Daityas, O king, could not notice any in Vasava, the wielder of the thunder in days of yore, while the latter was employed in crushing their divisions. The Pandavas, the Somakas, and the Srinjayas beheld that elephant looking like a 1,000 elephants careering around them, even as the foes of the gods had in the days of yore beheld the elephant of Indra in battle. Agitated by that animal, the hostile army looked on every side as if deprived of life. Unable to stand in battle, they then fled away in great fear, crushing one another as they ran. Then the vast host of the Pandavas, broken by King Salva, suddenly fled on all sides, unable to endure the impetuosity of that elephant. Beholding the Pandava host, broken and flying away in speed, all the foremost, and blew their conches white as the moon. Hearing the shouts of the Kauravas uttered in joy and the blare of their conches, the commander of the Pandava and the Srinjai forces, the Panchala prince Drishtajumna, could not, from wrath, endure it. The illustrious Drishtajumna then, with great speed, proceeded for vanquishing the elephant, even as the Asura Jamba had proceeded against Airavata, the prince of elephants, that Indra rode in the course of his encounter with Indra. So, anyway, beholding the ruler of the Pandavas impetuously rushing against him, Salva, that lion among kings, quickly urged his elephants, O king, for the destruction of Draupad's son. The latter, seeing the animal approaching with precipitancy, pierced it with 3 foremost of shafts, polished by the hands of the smith, keen, blazing, endued with fierce energy, and resembling fire itself in splendor and force. Then that illustrious hero struck the animal at the frontal globes with 5 of her whetted and foremost of shafts. Pierced therewith, that prince of elephants, turning away from battle, ran with great speed. Shalwa, however, suddenly checking that foremost of elephants, which had been exceedingly mangled and forced to retreat, caused it to turn back, and with hooks and keen lances urged it forward against the car of the Panchala king, pointing it out to the infuriate animal. Beholding the animal rushing impetuously at it, the heroic Drishtajumna, taking up a mace, quickly jumped down on the earth from his car, his limbs stupefied with fear. The gigantic elephant, meanwhile, suddenly crushing that gold-decked car with its steeds and driver, raised it up in the air with its trunk and then dashed it down on the earth. Beholding the driver of the Panchala king, thus crushed by that foremost of elephants, Bhima and Shikandi and the grandson of Sini rushed with great speed against that animal. With their shafts, they speedily checked the impetuosity of the advancing beast. Thus, received by those car warriors and checked by them in battle, the elephant began to waver. Meanwhile, King Salwa began to shoot his shafts like the sun, shedding his rays on all sides. Struck with those shafts, the Pandava car warriors began to fly away. Beholding that feat of Shalwa, the Panchalas, the Srinjayas, and the Matsyas, O king, uttered cries of "Oh!" and "Alas!" in that battle. All those foremost of men, however, encompassed the animal on all sides. The brave Panchala king then, taking up his mace, which resembled the lofty crest of a mountain, appeared there. Fearlessly, O king, that hero, the smiter of foes, rushed with speed against the elephant. Endued with great activity, the prince of the Panchalas approached and began to strike with his mace that animal, which was huge as a hill and would shed its secretions like a mighty mass pouring clouds. Its frontal globe suddenly split open, and it uttered a loud cry, and vomiting a profuse quantity of blood, the animal, huge as a hill, suddenly fell down, even as a mountain falling down during an earthquake. While that prince of elephants was falling down, and while the troops of thy son were uttering wails of woe at the sight, that foremost of warriors among the Sinis cut off the head of King Salwa with a sharp and broad-headed arrow. His head, having been cut off by the Satvata hero, Shalwa fell on the earth along with his prince of elephants, even like a mountain summit, suddenly riven by a thunderbolt hurled by the chief of the Celestials. Carrying on, section 21. Sanjaya said, after the heroic Salwa, the ornament of assemblies, had been slain, thy army speedily broke like a mighty tree broken by the force of the tempest. Beholding the army broken, that mighty Ka warrior, Kritavama, possessed of heroicism and great strength, resisted the hostile force in that battle. Seeing the Satvata hero, O king, standing in battle like a hill pierced with arrows by the foes, Kuru heroes who had fled away rallied and came back. Then, O monarch, a battle took place between the Pandavas and the returned Kurus, who made death itself their goal. Wonderful was that fierce encounter which occurred between Satvata hero and his foes, since he resisted the invincible army of the Pandavas. When friends were seen to accomplish the most difficult feats, friends filled with delight uttered leonine shouts that seemed to reach the very heavens. At those sounds, the Panchalas, O bull of Bharat's race, became inspired with fear. Then Satyaki, grandson of Sini, approached that spot. Approaching King Shamakiriti of great strength, Satyaki dispatched him to Yama's abode with 7 keen shafts. Then the son of Hridika, of great intelligence, rushed with speed against the bull of Sini's race, that mighty Ka, that mighty armed warrior, as the latter came, shooting his whetted shafts. Those 2 bowmen, those 2 foremost of Ka warriors, roared like lions and encountered each other with great force, both being armed with foremost of weapons. The Pandavas, the Panchalas, and the other warriors became spectators of that terrible encounter between the 2 heroes. Those 2 heroes of the Vrishni Andaka race, like 2 elephants filled with delight, struck each other with long arrows and shafts equipped with calf-toothed heads. Careering in diverse kinds of tracks, son of Hridika and that bull of Sini's race soon afflicted each other with showers of arrows. The shafts sped with great force from the bows of the 2 Vrishni lions were seen by us in the welkin to resemble flights of swiftly coursing insects. Then the son of Hridika, approaching Satyaki of true prowess, pierced the 4 steeds of the latter with 4 keen shafts. The long-armed Satyaki, enraged at this, like an elephant struck with a lance, pierced Kritavama with 8 foremost of arrows. Then Kritavama pierced Satyaki with 3 arrows, whetted on stone and sped from his bow, drawn to its fullest, and then cut off his bow with another arrow. Laying aside his broken bow, that bull of Sini's race quickly took up another with fixed arrow on it. Having taken up that foremost of bows and stringed it, that foremost of all bowmen, that Atirata of mighty energy, great intelligence, great strength, unable to endure the cutting of his bow by Kritavama, and filled with fury, quickly rushed against the latter. With 10 keen shafts, that bull of Sini's race then struck the driver, steeds, and the standard of Kritavama. At this, O king, the great bowman and mighty car warrior, Kritavama, beholding his gold-decked car made driverless and steedless, became filled with rage. Uplifting a pointed lance, he hurled with all his force of his arm at that bull of Sini's race, desirous of slaying him. Satyaki, however, of the Sattva race, striking that lance with many keen arrows, cut it off into fragments, caused it to fall down, stupefying Kritavama, Madhu's race, with his activity and prowess. With another broad-headed arrow, he then struck Kritavama in the chest. Made steedless and driverless in that battle by Yudana, skilled in weapons, Kritavama came down on the earth. The heroic Kritavama, having thus been deprived of his car by Satyaki in that single combat, all the Kaurava troops became filled with great fear. A great sorrow afflicted the heart of thy sons when Kritavama was thus made steedless, driverless, carless. Beholding that chastiser of foes, made steedless and driverless, Kripa, O king, rushed at that bull of Sini's race, desirous of dispatching him to Yama's abode. Taking Kritavama upon his car, in the very sight of all the bowmen, the mighty armed Kripa bore him away from the press of battle. After Kritavama had been made carless, and the grandson of Sini had become powerful on the field, the whole army of Duryodhana once more turned away from the fight. The enemy, however, did not see it, for the Kuru army was then shrouded with a dusty cloud. All thy warriors fled, O monarch, except King Duryodhana. The latter, beholding from a near point that his own army was routed, quickly rushing, assailed the victorious enemy, alone resisting them all. Fearlessly that invincible warrior, filled with rage, assailed with keen arrows all the Pandus and Drishtajumna, son of Krishna, and Sikandi, and the sons of Draupadi, and the large bands of the Panchalas and the Kaikeyas, O sire, and the Samakas. With firm determination, that mighty son stood in battle, even as a blazing and mighty fire on the sacrificial platform, sanctified with mantras. Even thus, King Duryodhana careered all over the field in that battle. His foes could not approach him. Then, like the living creatures unable to approach the destroyer, then the son of Ridika came there, riding on another car. I will take leave from reading that.
Mr. Madana Mohan Panditji.
Splendid.
Thank you, dear sir.
Okay. We're continuing. Now we're reverting back to Debroy and his edition. So that's going to be chapter 1240 of the Mahabharata, chapter 21 of Hrada Pravesha Parva. So it's actually still with
sorry,
your
head's kind of half of it's cut off.
Okay, let me just try and move it up a bit.
Yeah, lighting's a bit funny as well today somehow.
Dark, is it?
Something, yeah, it's not got any orange tones. It all looks a bit kind of.
I suppose I haven't got the light on. Well, hold on.
Oh, that's too much. That's much too much.
Well, that's all you got.
Is it? I thought the one above you. Only had the one above you.
It is above me.
Isn't that one that you just? Oh, really? Isn't that the one from over the side,
That's
over by
above,
the kitchen?
so below.
Okay, I'll shut up. Okay, it'll be what it is.
So, chapter 1240 of the Mahabharata, chapter 21 of the Hrada Pravesh Parva, which, as I was just saying, is all within the Shalya Parva. That's why it says chapter 21 of the Hrada Pravesh Parva, but we've only started that. Anyway, it's a little confusing. Sanjaya said, "O great king, your son, supreme among Rathas, was stationed on the chariot in the battle. He was resplendent and difficult to resist, like the powerful Rudra. The earth was covered with thousands of his arrows. He showered the enemy with arrows, like rain pouring down on a mountain. In the great battle, there wasn't a man among the Pandavas, or a horse, elephant, or ratha who was not wounded by his arrows. O Lord of the earth, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, whichever warrior I saw in the encounter was struck by your son with his arrows. The soldiers in the army were covered by dust and were seen to be mangled by the great-souled one's arrows. O Lord of the earth seemed to be made out of arrows that were released by the archer Duryodhana, swift in the use of his hands. Among the thousands of warriors on your side, or that of the enemy, it seemed to me that Duryodhana was the only man. We beheld your son's wonderful valor, O descendant of the Bharata lineage. He was single-handed, but the united Partras could not advance against him. O bull among the Bharata lineage, he pierced Yudhishthira with 100 arrows, Bhimasena with 70, Sahadeva with 7, Nakula with 64, Drishtadyumna with 5, Draupadi's sons with 7 each, and pierced Satyaki with 3. O venerable one, he severed Sahadeva's bow with a broad-headed arrow. Casting aside the severed bow, Madri's powerful son picked up another great bow and attacked the king. In the battle, he pierced Duryodhana with 10 arrows. The brave and great archer, Nakula, pierced the king with 9 arrows and roared, assuming a terrible form. Satyaki struck the king with an arrow with drooping tufts. Draupadi's sons struck him with 73 and Dharmaraja with 7. Bhimasena struck the king with 80 arrows. He was afflicted from every direction by storms of arrows shot by those great-souled ones. O great king, however, while all the soldiers looked on, he did not waver. All the beings and all the men witnessed the dexterity, skill, and prowess of that great-souled one. O Indra among kings, some sons of Dhritarashtra had only fled a short distance away. On seeing the king, those armored ones surrounded him. When they attacked, they created a tumultuous sound. It was like a turbulent ocean on a monsoon night. In that battle, those great archers approached the unvanquished king and counterattacked the Pandava assassins. In the encounter, Drona's son repulsed the enraged Bhimasena. O great king, arrows were released in all the directions. The brave ones could not be distinguished in the battle, nor could the directions or the sub-directions. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, both of those resplendent ones were the performers of cruel deeds and were extremely difficult to resist. They assumed fearful forms and fought, acting and neutralizing each other. The entire universe was terrified because of the twangs of their bows and their words. In the battle, the brave Shakuni attacked Yudhishthira. Subala's powerful son slew the 4 horses that belonged to the Lord and roared. This made all the soldiers tremble. At that time, the powerful Sahadeva bore the brave and unvanquished king away from the field of battle on his chariot. Dharmaraja Yudhishthira ascended another chariot. He pierced Sakuni with 9 arrows and pierced him again with 5. The best among all archers then roared loudly, "Oh, venerable one, the battle was wonderful and fearful in form. It generated delight among the spectators and was applauded by the soldiers and the siddhas and the charanas." Uluka, immeasurable in his soul, attacked the great archer Nakula, invincible in battle, and showered him with arrows from every direction. In that way, the brave Nakula repulsed Sobala's son in the encounter and repulsed him with a great shower of arrows. They were brave Maharatas, born in noble lineages. They were seen to fight with each other, enraged with each other. O king, in that way, Kritavarma fought against Shini's descendant, the tormentor of enemies, and was resplendent, like Shakra in the encounter against Bala. In the battle, Duryodhana severed Dhristadyumna's bow. When his bow had been severed, he pierced him with sharp arrows. While all the archers looked on, in that encounter, Dhristadyumna grasped a supreme weapon and fought against the king. O bull among the Bharata lineage, the clash between those two was exceedingly great. They were like 2 supreme and crazy elephants, with shattered temples, exuding must. In the battle, the brave Gautama became angry and pierced Draupadi's immensely strong sons with many arrows with drooping tufts. That clash between them and him was like that between a being and the senses. Footnote. There are 5 senses, and Draupadi had 5 sons. End of footnote. It assumed a fierce and terrible form, and neither side was inclined to show mercy. They afflicted him like senses oppressing a stupid person. He angrily fought against them in the battle. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, thus the colourful battle between them and him raged on. O Lord, it was like the one that always takes place between a human being and the senses. Men fought with men, tuskers fought with tuskers, horses clashed against horses, and rutters against rutters. O Lord of the earth, the battle became tumultuous and fearful in form. O Lord, it was wonderful in one spot and terrible and fierce in another. O great king, there were many terrible clashes. Those scorchers of enemies clashed against each other in the encounter. They pierced, struck, and killed each other in the great encounter. Because of the weapons, a terrible dust was seen to rise. O king, as they ran away, it was also created by the horses and the horse riders, and was fanned by the wind. The dust was created by the chariots and the breaths of the tuskers. It was like a tawny cloud in the evening and obstructed the path of the sun. The sun was covered by the dust and lost its brilliance. The earth and the brave Maharatas were shrouded. O supreme among the Bharata lineage, but in a short while The earth was sprinkled with the blood of the brave ones, and in every direction became free of the dust. That terrible dust, fierce in form, was pacified. O great king, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, those extremely fearful duels could again be seen as the best of the and the eldest fought against each other at midday. O Indra among kings, the armor was seen to blaze in resplendent brilliance as arrows descended in that battle. A tumultuous sound was raised. It was as if a large forest of bamboos was being burnt in every direction. Yeah, Karnai, you want to take over? Have another go? It's very good. Nice.
Yes, that's okay. Oops.
Okay, so page
Great.
395.
375?
95,
395, okay.
395.
Chapter. Thank you. Chapter, I can't speak. Chapter 1241, part 22. Sanjaya said, that fierce battle continued, terrible in form. The army of your sons was shattered by the Pandavas. The Maharatas made great efforts to restrain them, and your sons fought against the Pandava soldiers. Wishing to ensure your sons' pleasure, the warriors on your side suddenly returned. When they returned, the battle again assumed a fearful form. Those on your side and the enemy fought against each other in the battle, like the gods and the asuras. The soldiers on your side and that of the enemy were unwilling to retreat. They fought against each other through guessing and by means of signs. As they fought against each other, there was a great destruction. Footnote, the means of signs because of the dust. Because of this, so they guessed. King Yudhishthira was overcome by great rage. In the battle, he wished to vanquish the sons of Dhritarashtra and the kings. He pierced Sharadvata with 3 arrows that were gold-tufted and had been sharpened on stone. He slew Kritavarma's 4 horses with injurious arrows. Ashvatthama bore the illustrious Hardikya away. Sharadvata pierced Yudhishthira back with 8 arrows. In the battle, King Duryodhana dispatched 700 chariots towards the spot where King Yudhishthira, Dharma's son, was. Those chariots possessed the speed of thought or the wind, and Ratas rode them. In the encounter, they rushed against Kaunteya's chariot. O great king, they surrounded Yudhishthira from all sides. With their arrows, they made him disappear like clouds against the sun. Ratas, with Shikandi at the forefront, were unwilling to tolerate this and became angry. They attacked with the best of swift chariots, decorated with nets of bells. They advanced to protect Yudhishthira, Kunti's son. A terrible battle ensued between the Pandavas and the Kurus. Blood flowed like water, and it extended Yama's kingdom. Having slain the 700 Ratas that belonged to the Kuru assassins, the Pandavas and the Panchalas again countered them. A great battle was fought between your son and the Pandavas. Nothing like this had been seen earlier, nor heard of. That merciless battle continued in every direction. Warriors on your side and that of the others were slain. The warriors roared and blew on their conch shells. The archers roared like lions and shouted, O venerable one! As that battle extended, the inner organs were mangled. In search of victory, the warriors dashed in every direction. Every species on earth seemed to be destroyed, and this generated sorrow. As the battle extended, the best of women were deprived of their partings in the encounter. Read a little footnote. This requires explanation. Simanta is the parting of the hair and a marking on that indicates that the lady is married. The women were not deprived of the parting, but that marking. Stated simply, the women became widows. That merciless and extremely fearful battle continued. There was a sound like that of the earth, with all its mountains and forests, during an earthquake. O king, torches with handles fell down in every direction. From the solar disk, meteors descended from the firmament onto the ground. Harsh winds blew from every side and showered down stones underneath. The elephants shed tears and trembled severely. Disregarding these ominous portents, the extremely fearful battle raged on. Consulting each other, the Kshatriyas weren't distressed, and fought again on that beautiful and sacred region of Kurukshetra, desiring to go to heaven. Shakuni, the son of the king of Gandhara, said, "Station yourselves in the forefront of the battle. I will slay the Pandavas from the rear." At this, the spirited warriors from Madra cheerfully advanced, uttering many sounds of delight, and so did the enemy. Those invincible ones, unwavering in their aim, attacked us again. They brandished their bows and arrows and showered down arrows. The soldiers of the king of Madra were slain by the army there. On seeing this, Duryodhana's soldiers again retreated. The powerful king of Gandhara again spoke these words, "O wicked ones, O ones who are ignoring Dharma, return and fight. Why are you running away? O bull among the Bharata lineage, the king of Gandhara possessed an army of 10,000 horses, with warriors, with sparkling lances. He used this army and his valor, and there was destruction of men. He attacked the Pandava soldiers from the rear and killed them with sharp arrows. O great king, in every direction, extremely large army of the Pandus was destroyed and driven away like clouds by the wind. From a close distance, Yudhishthira saw that his own army was being routed. The immensely strong Sahadeva was in front of him, and he urged him, "Subala's armed son is afflicting our rear. O Pandava, behold, the evil-minded one is slaying our soldiers. Advance with the sons of Draupadi and kill Shakuni Sobala. O unblemished one, protect yourself with an army of Panchalas chariots. Let all the elephants and horses go with you, and 3,000 foot soldiers. Kill Shakuni Sobala." At this, 700 elephants, with bows in the hands of the riders, 5,000 horses, the valiant Sahadeva, 3,000 foot soldiers, and the sons of Draupadi, combined and attacked Shakuni, invincible in a battle, in the encounter. O king, however, the powerful Sobala, desiring victory, overcame the Pandavas and slaughtered the soldiers from the rear. The spirited Pandava horse riders were angry. They penetrated Sobala's army and overcame his ratas. Those brave riders stationed themselves amidst elephants and enveloped Sobala's large army with showers of arrows. Brave men used clubs and javelins. O king, because of your evil counsel, a great battle raged. As the ratas watched, the twang of bowstrings was no longer heard, because one could not distinguish those on one's own side from that of the enemy. O bull among the Bharata lineage, javelins were hurled in the arms of the brave ones among the Kurus and the Pandavas, and one could see them descend like stellar bodies. O Lord of the earth, sparkling swords were seen to descend there and covered the sky, rendering it exceedingly beautiful. O king, supreme among the Bharata lineage, beautiful javelins descended in every direction, were like locusts in the sky. The limbs of horses, covered with blood, because they were wounded, fell down in hundreds and thousands. They fell against each other and crowded together. Wounded, they were seen to vomit blood from their mouths. There was a terrible darkness, and the soldiers were covered in dust. With wet eyes, those scorchers of enemies retreated from the spot. O king, horses and men were covered with dust. Some fell down on the ground. Others vomited copious quantities of blood. The hair of some men got entangled with the hair of others, and they could not move. The immensely strong ones dragged each other from the backs of their horses and, clashing like wrestlers, slew each other. Many lost their lives and were dragged away by the horses. There were many others who fell down on the ground, desiring victory. Those men, proud of their prowess, were seen here and there. Blood flowed from their wounds. Their arms were severed. Their hair was shorn. The earth was seen to be strewn with hundreds, thousands of them. Those who tried to use their horses could not travel a great distance away. Horse riders were slain, and the earth was covered with horses. Armor was smeared with blood, and there were those who were armed with many terrible kinds of weapons, seeking to kill each other. They clashed against each other in the battle, and many soldiers were killed. O Lord of the earth, Sobala fought in that battle for a short while. He then retreated with the 6,000 horses that still remained. The horse riders on the Pandu side were also covered with blood. They engaged well in that battle, ready to give up their lives. They also retreated with the 6,000 horses that still remained. They said, "One can no longer use chariots or mighty elephants to fight here. Let chariots advance against chariots and elephants against elephants. Shakuni has now retreated and has stationed himself inside his formation. King Shobala will not advance in the battle again." Draupadi's sons and those crazy elephants then went to the spot where Maharata Panchala Drishtadyumna was. Oh, Kauravya! When that mighty cloud of dust arose, Sahadeva alone went to the spot where King Yudhishthira was. When they had departed, Shakuni Sobala again became enraged and attacked Drishtadyumna's army from the side. There was a dreadful battle again, and they were ready to give up their lives. Those on your side and that of the enemy attacked each other, wishing to kill each other. O king, in that clash of brave warriors, they first glanced at each other and then attacked in hundreds and thousands. In that destruction of men, heads were severed with swords and fell down with a great noise, like palm fruit. Devoid of armor, bodies were mangled and fell down on the ground. O Lord of the earth, arms and thighs were severed with weapons. There were loud noises, and the body hair stood up. With sharp weapons, brothers, sons, and friends were killed. The warriors descended like birds in search of meat. Extremely enraged, they attacked each other. "I will be the first. I am the first." Saying this, thousands were killed. Because of that clash, horse riders lost their lives and were dislodged from their seats. Horses fell down in hundreds and thousands. O Lord of the earth, there was the neighing of swift horses. There were the roars of armored men. A tumultuous sound was created by javelins and swords. O king, because of your evil policy, they pierced each other's inner organs. The wrathful ones were overcome by exhaustion. The mounts were exhausted and thirsty. Wounded by sharp weapons, those on your side retreated. Many became crazy because of the scent of blood and lost their senses. They killed whomever they could approach, regardless of whether it was friend or foe. Many Kshatriyas, desiring victory, lost their lives. O king, they were covered with showers of arrows and fell down on the ground. Wolves, vultures, and jackals emitted fierce sounds of delight. While your son looked on, your army met with a terrible destruction. Lord of the earth was covered with the bodies of men and horses. It was colourful with the flow of blood and increased the fear of cowards. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, those on your side, as well as that of the Pandavas, were repeatedly struck by swords, javelins, and spears, and stopped attacking. As long as they had lives, they struck to their best of their capacity. The warriors then fell down, vomiting blood from their wounds. Headless torsos could be seen grasping the hair and raising sharp swords smeared with blood. O Lord of men! Many such headless torsos rose up. Because of that scent of blood, the warriors were overcome by weakness. When the sound became less, Sobala attacked the large army of the Pandavas with the few remaining horses. The Pandavas desired victory and spiritedly attacked back. The foot soldiers, elephant riders, and horse riders raised their weapons. They protected themselves in every direction by arranging themselves into an array. They struck him with many kinds of weapons, wishing to bring an end to the hostilities. On seeing this attack, those on your side rushed against the Pandavas with horses, infantry, elephants, and chariots. There were some foot soldiers who no longer possessed weapons. In the battle, those brave ones attacked and brought down each other with feet and fists. Ratas fell down from their chariots and elephant riders from their elephants. They were like siddhas falling down from celestial vehicles, after their store of good deeds has been exhausted. In the great battle, thus did the warriors kill each other, fathers, brothers, friends, sons, and others. O supreme among the Bharata lineage, thus did the fearful battle continue. It was extremely terrible, and spears, swords, and arrows were used.
Oh, that's it. Marvelous. Well, Mathura ji, now maybe we should have a break and continue next time.
Okay.